sand stick. I want to say thank you for having me here at the reading today. The other room, it's very far from the room that I'm usually in New York. I want to thank Scott for asking me to come read and encouraging me to do it, and for James and Tom to be open and take a risk on a New York poet in Manchester. I'm really glad to be here. I love Manchester. So that poem is like an alternate psalm that I wrote using the Psalm 2. I'm just gonna read a little bit from a manuscript called Close Range Divinities and the Remainder. And then I'm going to do one last poem that comes from that Transsex book with Scott. Close Range Divinities. As if you existed, stranger, I will turn away from death and respond to you. The beginning had nothing to do with us. There's a bird in us you will have to fight for. Let's let go books, governments, and follow the angel of Blake, the spirit of pain. Someone made the spirit offering. Mangoes, bananas, oranges, washed back to the shore we walk. Filling up, the pail sank deeper into the dark well. A mourning cloak totters amidst buildings, your wings where mine never flew. Traitors to shipwreck. Picking up pajamas the children grow out of one day forever. Dust seeds my lips of your singing. Red mite on black stone. At this distance, what bird it is difficult to say. Police helicopters hovering over us, our bodies joining others on the line. Innermost stranger, you are also just enough coat for the cold. Looking over my shoulder, night catching up. The leaves fell, never thinking they would. At the end of a hard day, all that is left is some home we can make for them. Along the rack line, the children follow in our footsteps without really knowing us. Inside her, a fetal hummingbird heartbeat we are following. An animal togetherness finds the impossibility of our family. Imperceptibility undulating your anonymous echo in each gesture. In this cold night, I am calling through your animal door. Let me in, let me in. Days come and go, only the dead are dead forever. The city we are. Starlings in the branches, like illegible letters, you ask me to decipher. Yellow daffodils in ice. In bearded cold, one star visible, you can't sleep yet either. Shiny demons walk among cherry blossoms, white and rosy pink. Hard to remember, nothing lasts. What stays the same? Not the stone wall, the cattail, peeper, or star, yet the husband and wife say, I do forever. You and I went to the olive orchards. I felt that it was my job to try to figure out how not to know. From her labor, the baby is born. Semaphores of swallows veer and arc. Generation after generation, contingency retold as history, blossom petals. The dead beech leaves persist, glow, tan brown. You say, let's have it all, good and bad. We hold her fevered body so small, thin, fragile, aflame in the dark room. Trails in the thick grass where we walked through. This is always dangerous if someone has a laptop at a poetry reading. So one of the projects that this chapbook Transects is about is I had this opportunity to be part of a group of dancers and other artists in New York City. We were part of a group called the Interdisciplinary Laboratory of Art, Nature, and Dance, ILAND. And yeah, that's a mouthful. And what was amazing is these dancers were trying to figure out how to move outside, how to perform outside, how to have a relationship with the environment that was part of their dance practice. And as a poet, I began to get very envious of them. I kept thinking, like, I want to have a word relationship with the environment. You know, why can't I do this? And so I really started trying to figure out how that might be possible. And what I came to rely on was procedural strategies to walk through the city and walk through nature. And I'm just going to read, I'm just going to read a couple of those poems, and I'll show you one in a second. But what was great is that it was a way of seeing the city and paying attention to the city that I had never done before. Because when you're looking for language, there's so much language that's very present, right? The commercial language, the prohibitive government language, and this was a way to sort of profane that language and like get it back for poetry. So I'm just going to read two of those. This first one's called Transect Milwaukee River, and I kept having to come up with procedures so it wouldn't get boring. And I started with like acrostics, and I would do isostics, and then this one is let's see if I can say it right. Us fibron, which is like the way the ox plows. So the letters, one letter where it would end, like to start water, I would look for another word that ended with the letter R, and it would move through the space. So this is the poem. Water, manager, Milwaukee, village, vehicles, flowers, finish, Nina, news, pies, parking, warning, worth, cornstarch, chocolate, fence, flag, serving, stash, ouch, on, Wisconsin, warning, herring, happy, daily, dharma, DNA. So what was really nice about this, because it doesn't make any sense, is that you could use other languages that had our alphabet. So I got to take a trip to Indonesia for work, and I was able to write a poem in Indonesian without knowing Indonesian. And then with the help of Google, translated back into English. So I'm not going to read the Indonesian poem, but it's called Transect, but in Indonesian it's Triac and Dayak. It was when I was in Indonesia, I had visited the Dayak people, and when I was in Jakarta, walking through the museum, I used this process, and this is what came out. Largest in the world after headdress, there is no engraving. Strong does not rust, joyful. Brass is a strong metal, high carved from the ulan tree, or house in the tree of life is beautiful, woven by people. That is gold, pure gold with a metal or combination of diverse beliefs. Tattoos are tattooing the body, household tool for carrying children, namely the main economy, little that can be grasped. So, when I was writing these, what I found was I always felt like it was still missing the city. It was still missing what I felt like the dancers got. And I started to realize that I could shoot these poems with a camera and give you a sense of the aura of the word, and the font, the placement, and basically try to show where the words were in space. And the poem I'm about to show was a walk down Wall Street in Manhattan in New York City. It was during Occupy Wall Street, And so I took as the mesostic through the poem Zuccotti Park. And I just walked Zuccotti Park through Wall Street. And this is what came out. I'm just gonna read the poem through once, and Scott's gonna come up and recite it with me, and then I'm done. All right. This one's called Transect Zuccotti Park. Benghazi, Orpheus, Dante, Aeneas, to hell erected, vanished. Were they confidence men? Equinox, adultery, royalty, outlaw, erected, good morals inspired in us all. Perhaps the cuckold moral of Beecher yourself, rugged rocks of New Marlborough. Pray, Moody, for addicts of booze, building, picnic, oh, Christians of Belial, security. O Lord God, almighty policeman, other, nutrition, religion, love, blind, midnight. Who eats Eden's fruit, bad apple? Faster, 'twas my watch, so sorry I am. Parks. All right, Scott. Okay. Tom. Okay. Benghazi.
Orpheus, Dante, Aeneas, to hell.
Erected.
Vanished. Were they confidence men?
Equinox.
Adultery, royalty, outlaw.
Erected.
Good morals inspired in us all. Pray, Moody, for addicts of booze.
Perhaps.
The cuckold moral of Beecher.
Yourself.
Rugged rocks of New Marlborough.
Building.
Picnic, O Christians of Belial.
Security.
O Lord, God, almighty policeman.
Other.
Nutrition, religion, love, light.
Midnight.
Who eats Eden's fruit? Bad apple.
Faster.
"'Twas my watch. So sorry I am."
Parks. Thank you.